and not talent that rules the day. Live from digital address GA09933341. Good evening, and with those words from American author and filmmaker Julia Cameron, from her book Finding Water, The Art of Perseverance, I welcome you to the March edition of our African Excellence series on Springboard, your virtual university. My name is Albert Okran. I'm here with a virtual academic board comprising my boss Comfort, along with Matthew, Priscilla, Amos, Emmanuel, and Jojo. Springboard is brought to you by Legacy and Legacy and Joy 99.7 FM. We are proudly sponsored by MTN, Ghana's #1 network, Central University, and the graphic business. Today I get to hang out with a barrier breaker, a woman of strength and purpose, and an award-winning CEO in, guess which industry? Mining. Georgette Barnes Sakyi-Addo is in the house tonight. Georgette, welcome to Springboard.
Thank you, Albert.
Thanks for making time to hang out with us. There's so much I want to find out from you, but let me give you a moment to catch your breath as I tell our listeners about the Springboard 2019 Roadshow. So Comfort and I are excited about the great news about the 13th consecutive edition of the Springboard Roadshow. Started in January the 13th of 2007, and this is the 13th edition, and together with a few business leaders and mentors, we are hitting the road, traveling to 3 different cities under the theme The Digital Revolution. There will be insightful presentations on how to seize the opportunities in a highly digitized world. How do you explore opportunities and take advantage in a world dominated by technology and digitization? There will be wow moments in every city where our sponsors will give away incredible gifts to participants just for being there. You get to win something huge from our main sponsors, MTN, UMB, as well as our sponsors, Enterprise Group and Databank. And so you have to be in the 3 venues to ensure that you can win big at the Springboard Roadshow. The exciting new addition to this year's Roadshow is the Springboard UMB Talent Expose, where emerging talents get exposure, cash prizes, and mentorship opportunities. Listen, if you are in the following areas and you have talent but no opportunity or exposure, this is a chance for the world to see what you have and for you to win cash in addition. All right, so if you are into dance, drama, choreography, fashion, graphic design, or fine art, mobile apps, digital solutions, music, disc jockeying, spoken word or poetry, if you're in any of these areas and you say, listen, I have a talent, nobody's minding me, that is your chance. If you are in Kumasi, the place to join us at is at the Calvary Charismatic Center this Saturday, the 9th of March, from 12 noon to 5 p.m. and CCC is behind the Tech Police Station at Aija. The venue for the global convocation next week, Saturday, not this coming Saturday, the 16th of March, the venue is the National Theatre, and the whole world will turn its attention for the global convocation, 12 noon to 5 p.m. And then the final edition or the final event will be at the University of Cape Coast on the 30th of March. The venue, the new examination center on UCC campus, and that is on the 30th of March from 12 noon to 5 p.m. And if you live in any other city or in any other country or continent and you say, I wish I was in any of these 3 cities, listen, there's nothing to worry about. You can join us for free live online on our various Facebook pages. You can join us at Albert N. Okran, Comfort Okran A, or the official Facebook pages of MTN or UMB, and you will follow the program from beginning to end. And it's all coming to you live from these 3 venues. So plan to be at the Springboard Roadshow in a city near you and enjoy the experience. If you are thinking of signing up ahead of schedule, that's easy. Just dial star 718 star 50 hash, star 718 star 50 hash on your phone, and you can pre-register for any of the events. You can actually also even donate to Springboard if Springboard has been beneficial to you in any way. You want to say, wow, let me just make it possible for others to attend. Just dial star 718 *50# and you can actually contribute to the roadshow financially. You can also pre-register by clicking on the sign up button on our Facebook pages, Albert Any Okran and Comfort Okran. Just go there and click on the sign up button. Want to thank our sponsors, MTN, UMB, Enterprise Group and Data Bank, and also thank our media partners, Joy FM and the Graphic Business, and of course Dream Oval for making this roadshow a reality. Let's thank Pesol Systems also for being a partner to this project. So we'll give you more details as the weeks go by. But today it's all about African excellence. What should we do differently to be able to push our continent to the very highest level? What lessons can we learn from those who are breaking barriers, doing what others call impossible? I have Georgette Sakyi-Addo in the studio to help us appreciate the challenges that she surmounted on her way to becoming the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year. Georgette, once again, thanks for being with us. So let me start with a statement you made that I found in our research. A statement you made in your very first job interview. Typically, when people go for their first interview, they are scared. Very, there's a lot of trepidation. But in your first interview, you were asked, why should you be given a job when you don't have experience? And instead of saying, oh, please give me a chance, you said, listen, how can I get experience if no one hires me? And reading that, I was like, wow, that's the kind of assertiveness that you don't find very common in several people. Are you generally a very assertive person?
I don't think that most people will describe me as assertive. But I grew up with a very strong mother. My mother was very strong, and I learned a lot. I learned from a very young age that I had to stand up for myself most of the time. I was her only child, and as you know, I grew up in Takoradi. I hate to sound cliche, but the best actually does come from the West.
Especially from Chapel Hill.
And I'm from Chapel Hill. So I think I am a strong girl. But I was scared. At that interview, I was scared, but I had nothing to lose. I was already working. I had finished communication studies at Legon, and I was already working. I was working with Michael Casey-Hayford, Icon Communications at that time. So maybe I really had nothing to lose, but I was very much interested in taking up a new opportunity. And when these men who were maybe my father's age, they threw that question at me, I just felt like, why are you asking me this question? Why have you even called me here in the very first place? If you feel, because you had seen my CV. So if I wasn't interesting to the position,
you wouldn't call me.
I didn't think they should have called me.
Right.
So once I had been called, and there were a lot of people who had applied because somebody had told me, and I had gotten to that stage, I kind of felt like, why are you asking me this now? I mean, somebody has to try me.
What was the response?
Shock.
Did you get the job?
Surprise. The moment, it came out and I saw my boss's face, I realized that, I had done, because I was very small. I mean, if you remember me, I was tiny. And I think that he was taken aback that I had said that.
Right.
Yes, but I did get the job.
Is it, looking back now, how do you think it came across to the person interviewing you?
Oh, well, I mean, I think he was a very he was a businessman who had achieved a lot himself, but I also felt that he was at a point in his career that he wanted something new. And so he also wanted something new in terms of business, and and I had that kind of new vision to bring on board.
Right.
But later on, he kept referring to it.
Right.
That, I mean, you're a cheeky girl. I mean, he kept referring to it. So that was, I think, around 1994.
Right.
Yes.
Fresh from university.
Yes, about 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, a year or two I had worked.
Right.
I'd been working. And so, yes, I did get the job. And so I went back to because I was employed somewhere else. And so I went back and told them that, I wanted to try this.
Right.
And I knew nothing. Although I had grown up in the Western region, I knew zero about mining.
So that was the first foray into the mining industry?
That was my first foray. It was an exploration company. And it was a group of people. I think they had been schoolmates in Harvard, and they had been doing business together. And there was one Ghanaian partner. So he is the one who gave me the chance.
Right.
Yes. And so what it was they were looking at getting mining concessions all over West Africa. And they had a terrific team, but nobody could speak French. And so I had studied French at Legon, and I had also expressed interest in finding a position where I could use the language.
Right.
And so, yes, that's how come I found myself in that space.
Right. So your first experience in mining was working as an admin assistant.
Yes.
Tell me how you went into entrepreneurship in the mining area.
I didn't see it coming myself. I didn't see it coming. I mean, but working in exploration, one thing with exploration is you're always starting new things. You're always starting new things. And every time something new was being started and I was there, I kind of seemed to be the one who was said, okay, Georgette, can you do this? Georgette, can you do that? And so unknown to me, I was kind of in an entrepreneurial school.
Right.
So, I mean, when I started with this, my first boss, then he wanted to go set up in Burkina Faso. And then he says, Georgette, go.
French again?
Yes. So he said, we've got a team, we've got people, but I need somebody who can be my eye and knows how I want things done. So you go. So I found myself going to Burkina Faso, and we set up an office there, and I had to leave Ghana and then go. But it shouldn't be so sad because I'd been to Burkina before as a student. So yeah. So I mean, it's even at that time I never thought I was going to do something like that for myself. I was going to go into business for myself.
Right. So in that job as well, you were working for someone else in the mining industry, but in a different capacity. Well,
so how do I put this? From there, when I did that, working, it was the same company that had hired me in Ghana, and we were traveling. We were going Ivory Coast, Togo, Mali, Burkina, looking for properties really all over West Africa. And so what happened was I started building a network in those countries. In most of the time in the mining ministries. And, because, my boss would send me. So I started getting contacts. Of course, I didn't know the value then. I didn't know the value of that. But one thing I can say is that I never turned down anything they asked me to do, really. I never turned it down. One of the most boring things that my boss would ask me to do was to read people's the technical reports, which I used to find extremely boring. But then he would, after the technical people will submit this, he would say, Georgette, go through and make sure that all the grammar is right.
Correct, right.
Because I've seen on your CV, you studied English, you must know something. And I used to find it extremely tedious. Then I started just liking it.
Right.
So that's where I got some basic geology knowledge from reading these reports before they were sent to the Minerals Commission.
Right. Let me string together what I've learned so far from you. So growing up under a very hard-working mother in Takoradi, link that to going for an interview, tenacity, strength of purpose, then getting a job, then your French, then your English, then being given boring assignments, being sent to Burkina Faso, all together molding a person for a role that you didn't even know that you will get into. Let's push now further into Georgette Barnes Limited, your own business in the mining space. What do you do?
So my company strictly works in exploration, mostly in exploration and drilling. We provide key consumables, not the equipment, not the big equipment, but we provide, for example, drilling fluids for the drill rigs. So for me, the simplest thing I tell people that I do, I said, if you know what is a drilling rig in the mining industry, I tend to provide the things that will make the rig work.
Right.
So the drill bits, sometimes filters, and then mostly the drilling fluids. The second person I take care of, that's the way I look at my job. I look at my job from the end user's perspective.
Right.
The second, so I look after the driller and I look after the geologist. So when I look at when the geologist has to work, his hand length, his GPS, his cleaner rule, his compass, anything that the geologist needs to work, his specialized field notebooks, which they use, I do that range.
Right.
When you go to what we call the core shed, after drilling, core comes out. So when the core comes out, we have what we call the core shed. In the core shed, that's my baby. So when the core comes out, where they have to put the containers, they have to put the core. These are all specialized depending on what size that was drilled, whether we drilled peak, whether they drilled PQ, whether they drilled NQ, whether they drilled HQ. Where the core is going to go, that's also me.
You know, let me pause at this point and tell you the smile on your face as you describe these very technical details is just intriguing, because for somebody who found it boring when you're reading the technical reports, you should see how you call it my baby. I mean, how could you call this HQ, TQ your baby? What is so fascinating about? But of course, it's not.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating, and it's I always want to make sure that that job is not delayed because I do not have something in country. It's very fascinating.
I'm going to find out as we go along how you surmount some of the challenges that are in this very male-dominated and very difficult terrain called mining. I had an opportunity to hang out with my brother Cicelo Ntuli, who's now the Chief Operating Officer of Anglo Gold Africa, last week, and he mentioned something very interesting. He said, as far as mining is concerned, especially about local content, you've got to be in to succeed. It starts by being in, and you are in there. What do you think has been the most important tool or the most important thing you've done that has helped you to rise to the place where you are now being celebrated as the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year?
The most important thing, I think, is for being there. Number one, you have to be there.
So you agree with Cicelo on that?
Yes.
Right.
Is that Google's husband? Yes, I agree. You have to be in there.
Right.
Because it's a closed circle.
Right.
It's difficult to know what is happening. Even though I am in there, still I find it tough.
Right.
You have to be there. It's a network.
Right.
It's a network of people who keep moving from Newmont to Anglo to Goldfields to Adamus to Perseus.
Right.
And you'll be surprised that there are people, there are customers, end users that I follow from company to company.
Right.
So you've got to be there. Integrity.
So one, be there. Two is integrity.
Integrity. You cannot tell somebody in the mining industry that you have it when you know you don't have it, because they are going to take decision based on what you have said. And if you call me, I don't have it, I do not have it, it will take me 6 weeks to get it. Do you want to wait?
In my days hanging out with my friends in the mining space, I mean, if somebody wanted a mill liner or something and you didn't even have it, the feeling was that, Charlie, that's a huge opportunity. So just say you can get it and then find it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
I know.
And you think integrity is big?
I think integrity is huge. I think it's big, and I know people do that. But it depends. It depends on everybody. For me, if I did that, I wouldn't sleep too well. Because it's stressful. Because it's a whole chain. It's a whole line of people. That's what you have said. Based on that, he is going to go to his morning meeting and say this. And as the time gets closer, they keep, calling you. They don't let it off. They don't let off. And especially because I feel that I am local. I am very small. I am female. I really want to set a standard that anybody that is coming in the same kind of space or anywhere along the value chain, we need to get it right, and we need to present ourselves strongly and, dependable.
24 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. If you just joined us, my guest for tonight, Georgette Sakyi-Addo, helping us to understand her journey to becoming the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year. She's working in a very, very challenging and difficult space, the mining space. And she's taught us two of the lessons that she thinks anyone who wants to operate in that space should know. First, that you must be in there, something that was corroborated by a good friend of mine. And the second thing is that you must have integrity. And so if you don't have something, say you don't have it. And then if you have it, to give them the truth as it is. We're going to explore what does it take for a woman to succeed in a male-dominated environment. If you have your questions that you would like Georgette to answer, send them by WhatsApp 0244340437 024999955. What does it take to become the Entrepreneur of the Year? By the way, do we have even an entrepreneurial environment in our country? We'll be finding out from Georgette as we go through this discussion. But let me say a big thank you to MTN, our main sponsor for this show. MTN says choosing gifts for your loved ones can be such a stressful thing to do, but thanks to MTN, you don't have to stress trying to figure out the perfect gift for your loved ones. Send the perfect gift with MTN gift bundles, and send that special someone MTN data. Listen, send some to me, please. So go on, show some love with MTN data. Snap, chat, tweet, retweet, post, stream, and browse all season long with MTN gift bundles. Just dial *527# to choose the perfect gift bundle for your loved ones from the MTN digital store, and show just how much you love them. Abi, no say we day for you everywhere you go. So that's the perfect gift, the MTN gift bundle. Let me also remind you that the Springboard Global Convocation, the one in the Accra City, it comes up at the National Theatre. That means 13 days more to go. That venue has been packed for the past couple of years. So people leave home at 5 a.m. for a 12 noon event. So please, start setting your GPS towards the National Theatre, because it's going to be huge. We are giving out unbelievable gifts. Last year, people won laptops, they won phones, they won sponsorships. And if you are a talented person and you are looking for opportunity, we are creating the springboard for your talent to become a global talent. So that means that the whole world gets to see your talent on the stage. 1 million viewers on Facebook get to see your talent, alongside 2,000 people packed into the National Theatre. Additionally, you get to also get mentorship from somebody experienced in your field who will just show you the ropes and show you what to do and what not to do. And then on top of that, you get cash from UMB. Charlie, that's the reason why you must be at the National Theatre on the 16th of March for the global convocation of the Springboard Roadshow. If you are in Kumasi, it's coming Saturday. And if you are in Cape Coast, it's the 30th of March. And the Springboard Roadshow is brought to you by UMB, MTN, Enterprise Life, Databank, Pesol, Graphic Business, Joy FM, and Dream Oval. All right, so Georgette, let's talk about a male-dominated environment. Sometimes, I mean, we all are guilty. You mentioned that you are operating in mining, and we are like, it's typically male-dominated. Are these barriers that society places in the way of women, are these, especially in certain industries, are these barriers real, or are they self-imposed by women, or are they imaginary?
When I started out in the mining industry, I did, after a while, I did notice that especially when you go for programs or conferences or seminars, I started noticing that there weren't so many men. It took me a while.
So many men.
So many women.
Right.
There weren't so many women. It took me a while to realize it because I started out in exploration. And so it wasn't so obvious to me in my first 3 years. But when I changed companies, and I started working for an Australian consulting firm. And I realized that most of the people that we were hiring were male. And I didn't understand. I was like, why? I kept asking myself. So one day, my boss, Rick, he was in Australia, and he called me. He says, Georgette, I've got good news for you. We've got 2 geologists joining us, and they are female. So that was my first introduction to female geos. And then I started looking around in Ghana as well, and I found a few, but they were not so many. So there is a perception, and the perception from mining, maybe not a perception, but it's real.
Right.
Let me just say that it's real. There are not enough females. If you have to work in real mining, it's not in Accra. It's not in a capital, not just Accra. But if you're going to any other country, most of the time, sites are outside of the main cities. That alone sometimes is a deterrent for some females. Facilities. For bigger mines, for a lot of the big established mines, I guess that's not a problem now. They do have the facilities, and they do everything they can to have women on site. But I am not sure it was the same 10 years ago.
Right.
Now, a lot of the big companies are looking for female talent in mining. And so even the fact that it's now become a policy, inclusion, diversity, and gender is now on a lot of mining companies' agenda, shows that we are all trying to correct something that was before. So it's not a perception; it's real. I would say that worldwide, it's less than 10% women in the mining workforce. When you come to artisanal mining and small-scale mining, the worldwide is about 40%. But there, although the women are a lot, you would find out that there are a lot, but a lot of them are they are at the very bottom of the labor.
The value chain, right?
Yes. So it is real. It's a real challenge that we are dealing with.
Several years ago, when even at the Festival of Ideas and Springboard, we began to take inventory of the gender representation in our events, and we looked at our business conference, the Festival of Ideas, which comes off every August, and realized that we had 29% female attendance and 71% male attendance. We took a deliberate decision to reverse that, even though attendance is not, we don't control attendance. I mean, we pitch the event and people pay to attend. We deliberately began to pitch strategically and to liaise with our various stakeholders to get them to send female participants, and in some instances give discounts to make it happen. And then on top of it all, we increase the number of female resource persons, because the more people see a picture, the more they believe that it's possible, and the results are clear. We've bridged that gap. I mean, last year the number of female resource persons was more than the number of male resource persons. We reversed that just by policy. How do we turn this around all across those difficult, different industries here in Ghana? What do you think we can do?
For one, in mining, we have established something we called an NGO called Women in Mining in Ghana, right, of which I'm the current president. And we believe, like you said, in visibility, in mentoring. Apart from legislation, what can we do as individuals is a lot of mentoring and role models, as you have said. And so those are the kinds of programs that we're doing. Individual mining companies are also doing the same, trying to project their key mine female workers out there. Because 2 years ago, I was at a mentoring program organized by the Australia High Commission, and I was very surprised when my table, I had to handle, I think about 15 high school girls, and they were completely surprised when I was introduced as somebody who was working in mining. And I was shocked, because they told me that they actually did not think that there were any women working in the mining sector. So mentoring is key. Profiling of women who are working in the sector is also key. And so Women in Mining Ghana, for example, we use the social media a lot, and we do profiles which we share across our various social media networks. And it's key. I mean, we can work on policy as well, but in the absence of policy, I think what we can do is a lot of mentoring and speaking opportunities for females who are there.
Mentoring, policy, speaking opportunities, visibility. And so I'm going to ask you, just before I play the song, what if there's a young lady out there who's interested in mining and interested in some mentoring, who should they talk to? Where should they go? How do they get help? How do they find women in mining?
I will send you the social media handles, but off my head, I think it's WIM Ghana.
Right.
A search online for WIM Ghana, right, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on IG. Follow, and we have buttons that you can apply. Click on for help.
I think it's a challenge many people should take and find out more about the industry and explore what opportunities there are in there. All right, so today I'm going to play the song Higher Praise by Joyful Way Incorporated, and I'm going to dedicate that song to the whole of the International Central Gospel Church. You're celebrating 35 years this week, and today was Thanksgiving service across the world. 35 years, Charlie, for a new venture, entrepreneurial venture, a church, anything to last for 35 years in this Ghana that we are in, it, as they say, is an achievement. So, good evening, Dr. Mensa Otable, Lady Joy Otable, the entire leadership of ICGC. Congratulations for 35 years. I'm playing you the song Higher Praise by Joyful Way Incorporated, and I'm also dedicating it to my big brother, Kweku Sakyi-Addo. Enjoy the song. Somebody is smiling in the studio, trying to keep a straight face, but Kweku Sakyi-Addo, this song is yours. Higher Praise by Jeffrey. When I come, I'm going to ask, what kind of person is he at home? Please don't go away.
Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye people. Shout unto God with the voice of triumph. I will lift up your name. I will lift up your name. All we can do is lift up his name and praise him. If you are ready, come on and join joyful way as we praise the Lord. I will lift up your name. Come on, let's lift up his name. Come on, lift Jesus higher, higher, higher. I will lift up his name. I will lift up your name. I will lift up your name. Jehovah, you are so wonderful to me. 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 Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hey! The Lord is good, I will lift him up higher. Everywhere I go, I will lift him up higher. The Lord is good, I will lift him up higher. Everywhere I go, I will lift him up higher. The Lord is good, I will lift him up higher. Everywhere I go, I will lift him up higher. The Lord is good, the Lord is good. Everywhere I go, I will lift him up higher. Come on and lift him up. Lift him up. Lift him up.
It's obvious that the dancing in church was not enough, so we are continuing right here in the studio. In the studio, thanking God, the Lord is good, and every story that we hear reminds us that God is good, because without Him, where would we have come from? Just for full disclosure, I've known Georgette since our days together in preparatory school at Chapel Hill in Takoradi, and so it's another reason why I'm excited about her award and excited about the things that she's achieved and continues to achieve. And of course, the second reason, which is very obvious, is that she is married to my big brother Kweku Sakyi-Addo, who opened the way for many of us in this space with his groundbreaking work in the media space. And before I ask you about Kweku, let me ask you about two things you mentioned in the interview earlier on, Georgette. You just, in a very casual way, mentioned that as you worked, you built networks of relationships. And then you also mentioned language. I'm going to quote two of my favorite motivational speakers to back these 2 points. Last week, I played the thoughts of one of them called Nido Kubeng, who says that social capital is big equity, and that he deliberately grows his networks and ensures that he oils the engine of his relationships consistently because they nurture his career and his life. Tell me, how did these relationships that you built when you were serving, working, and learning stand you in good stead when you built your own business?
One thing that I always tell when I speak to young people is, when you're working for somebody, do not think that you're working for that person. You are actually working for yourself. Throughout the years that I worked, I didn't realize that I was building my own brand as to the kind of person which would relate to the kind of service or business that I would give somebody. So the way, whatever you are doing, the way you do it, giving it your all, and I mentioned integrity, I'll come to that again. With people in your working space, especially for us that work in niche areas, what you do, you'll be surprised as how quickly information is going round.
Right.
So if I swindle somebody, I know that it will not end with just that customer.
Right.
It's probably going to get everywhere. And what will happen is you will see that you'll be given, if you get, you're getting certain numbers of RFQs or requests for proposals or tenders, maybe they'll start decreasing.
Right.
because information goes round. So as you build your network, make sure that you are building them with integrity,
Right.
with giving the people the truth about whatever they need or wherever you are. So when I started my business, I found out that the integrity and relationships was one of the things that really helps put me ahead, because I needed,
References.
yes, I needed references, I needed money, which is a big thing when you want to do business. But my name had gone ahead of me. It's very difficult for foreign partners to just say, hey, take a container of stuff, whatever items, you just take it, don't pay us, we're giving you credit. So that's one of the things that I realize, and that's one of the things, and I keep, even with people who are working with me now, I always tell them, if the thing is not there, don't say we have it. Put it there. Give them availability.
Right.
And so through a network I had built, and through just working, being a very simple person and just sticking to what was the truth, I managed to get credit in my early business, starting my business. So for me, I believe that it's very key. It's very key, whatever you do. Integrity, building your network is key. Language. Ghana, we go to the west of Ghana is Ivory Coast. To the north is Burkina Faso, and to the east is Togo. I feel strongly that we should try to be bilingual.
Jim Rohn puts it very nicely. He says that he tells his students that if you are a millionaire speaking English, just add one more language and you make another million.
Yes, I'm sure, because it opens new markets to you.
He said it so passionately, and I felt, and then the party added that killed me, because he says, if it's too late for you, just give it as a gift to your children.
Yes.
So my first two children both did French up to the university level, because Charlie,
yes.
I looked at my French teacher, it didn't help me.
Yes, I think it's helpful. I think an extra language is helpful. I've tried to encourage my children as well. And for me, people ask me, how did you get into mining? And it was French. I didn't get into the mining industry because I went to University of Mines and Technology, or because I studied geological engineering. No. Interesting. It was the French.
All right, so I'm drawing circles as you speak. That's what I've learned to do. My mother was your head teacher, so you understand why.
Venn diagrams.
So I'm drawing circles. So in your first answer, you're saying that relational equity combined with reputational equity created financial equity for you.
That's why you are the writer, and I'm only a worker. He has repackaged.
So I'm learning about what it takes to succeed in what you do, and I hope that our listeners listening out there can glean some of these lessons from you.
But it's tough.
I was going to come to that, because really, whenever somebody wins an award and you interview the person, it sounds so beautiful. And people are saying, oh, I'm seeing Nanama Bounce say, keep up the good work, Georgette. On Facebook, people are writing and saying, keep up the good work, and wow, you are the role model. But let's talk about those times when you felt like running away. Were there times like that?
I still feel like running away. I still feel like running away. It's not easy.
What keeps you going?
Faith, family, the support of my family. The other day I read somewhere that behind every successful woman, there's a tribe of women.
Wow.
And I have a solid tribe of Hobson sisters.
Mm-hmm.
We call ourselves the Fiery Reds, Hobson 85. And it's a sisterhood that you can call on anytime. There's always somebody at the other end of the phone who is prepared to share an experience and also happy to push you on.
That's another part of networking that you're talking
Yes,
about.
it's another part of networking. Today's schools are a bit different, but you and I went to boarding school those times, and you spent 7 years of your life with people, and they become part of your life.
It's the same with my Mobile 84 group. Very, very close, extremely close, and just there for each other every time.
Yes.
I guess it's 7 years of seeing different aspects of socialization.
Yes, and we need to tap into all these, to make us complete and to help us, along the way.
So that's where you go when you feel like giving up.
I feel like yes. A lot of the time, you just go and then you call somebody, and I call anybody, and any of them, my sisters, Susan Zwenes, Karen Suta, Nana Hinedu, we're speaking about. Yes, Elaine. It's a sisterhood that helps, and of course, then it comes to your home. When I started work, I think almost every 2 weeks I had to travel. When I started working in the industry, every time, there are times that I'll go to work and I get to work, and then my boss is like, go pack a bag. And so I will go home and pack my bag, and my husband will not be there, but I'll call him from another country.
Wow.
So you need somebody, your relationship has to be solid, and you need somebody who also believes that what you are doing is worth it. He was, he also had a mother who was really very strong, and he was there for me a lot of the time, and is still there for me a lot of the time. But coming to business, it is tough. I'm sitting here tomorrow. I have a lot to think about. I have suppliers to pay. I have to convert CDs to dollars to go pay off my external suppliers, and I'm not happy.
The CD is not treating you well.
Yes, and
the CD is not your friend.
Yes, the CD is not. It's not easy. So it's apart from that, working in the mining industry around 2013, 2014. I had to let people go home. The gold price, just took a dip, and there's nothing you can do. Especially for me, my space is exploration, and the moment the gold price takes a dip, exploration is one of the first things that goes off, and so it's tough. There are times you feel like,
what am I doing here?
What are you doing here? But it's become like a mission. It's become like a mission for me to make sure that it's going to work. And for now, this is my 10th year in business, and I'm now paying attention to corporate governance and making it intergenerational, not necessarily intergenerational as to family, but that,
succession plan.
Yes, corporate.
Let's talk about your award. When you get to be celebrated, it's beautiful. That's when you feel that all the effort has been worth it. So
I wish I wasn't.
So when it
brings too much attention, Albert.
But it's part of life. Those are the nuances, the rewards of hard work and labor. Tell me how you found out about that award. Were you in country?
Yes, on Thursday, I think it was the 24th. I got a call and from international Invest in Africa.
Right.
That they were inviting me to an award ceremony, and so I said, "Oh, okay." I mean, I didn't really think much of it, but then she called again. The lady called again, and she said, "Yes, we need you to confirm whether you are coming or not." And I said, "So send me an email." I said, "No, madam, we've sent you an email." Anyway, so I go back into my email box, and truly they had sent me that I should come, but it didn't say anything. So Friday after work, I went home, changed, and then I went for the award. They didn't tell me that this is what was going to happen. Right. So I went to the event at Labadi Beach Hotel. And then I saw somebody I knew, so I got up and went outside to speak. Then they came out and called me that, please come in and sit down. In fact, at that point, I was like, why this
stressing you out?
Yes, somebody called me and said, you should come and sit down. So I went and I sat down, and apparently it was the first award that we're mentioning. Yeah, sure. But then before that, they had come to my company. They had taken our financials. They took financials and they sent some questionnaire, which we had answered. That was about August. I think around August, September, yes.
So for you, that becomes the icing on the cake, something that gives you some motivation that everything that you've done is worth it. Let's round up with this last question about enablers and then also about barriers. So if somebody is listening to you out there and saying, Georgette, you've shared so much about your life, from your mother to your French to your networks to working for other people to starting your own and all the challenges that come with it, what would be, in your opinion, the one biggest key to professional and career success? And then while we are at it, what do you also think is the one biggest barrier or obstacle to career success?
Attitude. I think that we need to have the correct attitude. A lot of the time when we are working for people, we tend not to accept corrections. We don't take corrections very well. But looking back, I think that it's important that we have the correct accepting attitude about your work. Because most of the time when people are correcting us, it's because they want the thing to be done properly. Whatever your faith, the kind of faith that you have, you need to apply that. If you need to pray about issues, you try to pray about issues. But I feel that confrontational behavior in workspace doesn't help us grow.
So those are your thoughts about the enablers, and then also
yes, a lot of it I feel should be from us, our attitude. And also you were speaking about entrepreneurship. The places I've traveled over in West Africa, I believe that Ghana is one place that there are the spirit or the love for entrepreneurship is huge in Ghana.
In the sub-region, especially among the Francophones, we are way ahead.
We are way ahead.
There's much more that we could do.
Yes. What I feel that what we should work more on is on collaboration.
Right.
We are too small. We are too small. I'm doing my thing here. Another Ghanaian is doing their thing there. We are too small. We need to go to the next level where we become big corporates, so that
the Nigerians do that better than us.
Yes, so
they
that yes. Oh yeah, we need to get to that level.
Right.
Use some legal minds and get to that level.
It's 4 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock, and I want to say a big thank you to you, Georgette Sakyi-Addo, for hanging out with us and sharing your life with us. I am sure that the thoughts that you have shared will definitely be very beneficial to somebody setting out on their journey. And we look forward to calling you again after your next award to refresh our minds about the enablers and also the barriers. But a big thank you to you for coming, and warm regards to the entire family, especially to my big brother Kweku. Right, so that's a lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3 for you. Relational equity plus reputational equity can give you financial equity. If you don't have capital, don't worry. Just be a nice person. Just build good networks and also speak the truth when you work with people, and it will open financial doors for you and for your company. I want to say a big thank you on behalf of Comfort, Matthew, Priscilla, Amos, Emmanuel, and Jojo, to every one of you for tuning in. Next week we return to our thematic discussion about the digital revolution, and by that time we would have finished the Kumasi event of the Springboard Roadshow. So we'll be bringing you highlights of what happened in the Sake Room. So don't miss out on this space. March will be huge on this platform. Do not miss any session in March. Coming up next is Walk with Jesus, and the topic is the role of the church in nation building. My brother, Reverend Ransford Abose, will be talking to Reverend Nia Mudakun about that subject, the role of the church in nation building. So till we come your way again next week, my name is Albert Okran. God bless you, God bless you, and God bless you. Good night.
To break free.
The shakers and the movers.
That a great man was asked, how do you bring up children? And he said, the first is by example, the second by example, and the third by example.
What are the top 10 things?
Albert, I should confess to you, it's a very difficult subject you're handling.
If you ever found Kelly anywhere sitting on a stool, the three legs of those two are faith, truthfulness, and enjoyment. Please don't pull any of these legs out. If you do, you will fall.
10 years of reviewing the past, situating the present, and predicting the future. Springboard, your virtual university matriculation.